And welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to go through the full range of the Awazi hang-on filters so you can pick what filter is right for your size aquarium. We're going to pull one apart, show you how all the bits and pieces work, and we've been using them personally for the last 3 months or so. They are very interesting filters. If you haven't heard about Awazi before, they are a German brand manufacturer. So these are all made in Germany, really good quality, and they're not overly expensive for what they are. There are 3 different sizes. This is the biggest ones. With the name of them is roughly how many liters they are recommended up to. So the BioStyle 180 does up to 180 liters. We do have this one on a 250 liter tank, and it's working perfectly, by the way. So that's just a rough guide. The middle one is the BioStyle 115, which is roughly about a 3 foot or 90 centimeter tank size. And then the smaller one is the BioStyle 75, which is up to 75 liters. So roughly a 2 foot tank or smaller. Now they have fully adjustable, so you can turn them right down or completely on full high. Completely on full high, yes, that makes so much sense. But this bigger model is 900 liters an hour, which doesn't sound like much, but it has a decent flow to it. It only uses 4.5 watts of power, so very low wattage for what they are. They all come with a sponge and a cartridge inside with your media, and there is room for extra media. So we're going to go through all the little features and bits and pieces now. So we're going to open one up and show you what you get in the box. And the good thing with these filters is out of the box, they are pretty much assembled. All you really need to do is join this little pipe here, which has got like a little ribbed bit, and insert it into there, and that will just slide up, and then that will give you roughly how high you want your intake in your tank. So you don't want it sitting right in the gravel, but you want it up a little bit. You can get pre-filter sponges around these as well. Now, the whole filter itself, obviously that is the lid, and this little blue weird bit in the lid is pretty much just a mechanism that will float up and tell you when it's clogged up. So you don't have to actually open the lid to see if your filter needs cleaning, because this little tiny blue bit will just pop up like that. So very, very simple. It's just a little float, and as the water builds up in the back, that will just pop up. So with the whole filter itself, that is the little U-bendy bit that sucks the water into the tank. This is your high-low switch, which can completely turn it down to almost no flow. So that will just block the water siphoning back into the actual impeller itself. So you have full, off, and you have multiple different areas where you can adjust the flow of it. So that is the pretty simple bits and pieces of the filter. You get 3 cartridges with the 180, you get 2 with the 115, and you get 1 with the 75. They are all the same size cartridge, so very easy to mix and match and all that, so you don't have to get certain size cartridges for certain size filters, which just makes it a lot easier. So this is your carbon, it's got zeolite in it, and your little fine sponge at the back. So obviously 3 of those, and they just slot into that little slot there. And then you have a biological sponge as well, which is just for growing nitrifying bacteria. So obviously with the carbon and the zeolite, you want to replace that every 6 to 8 weeks on average, but you can take that sponge off and you can replace the carbon yourself with other carbon. So you don't have to keep buying cartridges. There's also enough room in the back of the filter. You can have extra biomedia, or you can even take the cartridges out and put whatever media you want in it. So it's a pretty straightforward little filter. Obviously you take the plastic off this, and this is just to stop any dust or anything or detritus from getting in the bits and pieces while they ship it. So that is your impeller down there. So there is an impeller cover, and you just want to clip that bit off like that. That will slide off, which is nice and easy. This will twist to the side, and that is how you access your impeller. So there's a little tiny shaft in there. There's no little rubber grommets or anything, so it is very user-friendly to clean out. You want to clean this impeller out every second time you clean your sponges on average, and just to make sure there's no gunk or anything in there. But that is about as straightforward as these little filters are. And then you have your little cover, which will just click over, and you would never even know there was an impeller in there. And the other feature with these is this little bit here, which will extend all the way out, and that is just so you can align it perfectly with your tank. So if you don't have this bit, what can happen with the different thickness of your glass is it can be on a weird angle, and then it's going to stop it from siphoning the water in properly and then back into your tank. So you just want to align them so they're perfectly horizontal. with your glass. But that is the main filter. You also get a little tiny certificate which tells you that they are made in Germany. You have a 3-year warranty, which is your guarantee, and you have a giant encyclopedia that tells you absolutely everything you need to know about the filter. So they come with a really good instructions, an awesome warranty to them. They are pretty cool little filters. And we're going to jump to the tank where I've had one of these going for the last few months. So this has been running on this 4-foot Tanganykan cichlid tank for, I think, about 2 months or so now. So just sitting on the edge of the tank. There's a decent amount of clearance, so you'll be able to fit it on most sort of lips, obviously not the bigger lips like this. Now, it's important to note, if we sort of look in between there, and if we zoom in, can we zoom? There we go. That little blue thing there is what's going to align the filter up, and you have to make sure that it's perfectly straight. We've had a few people buy these, not put that bit on, so the filter sits back. So if there's a power cut and you have your water level a little bit lower, the water will siphon back into your tank, and then it's not going to siphon back up once the pump is turned off. Otherwise, if it's perfectly straight, once the water goes down and power comes back on, the water's going to suck and go back through, and it's going to start itself. There is a decent amount of flow. So this tank, as I said, has been set up for a while, but this filter, for like, I think about, 2 months, at least 2 months now, it may even be a little bit longer. That is actually, hasn't reduced any flow, and I've only cleaned the little sponges out about once. So obviously you can tell it's well used because we've got all our spray from our hard alkaline water. So this Tanganykan tank has just got a few awesome little Tanganyikans. I think I've got a few videos on this. These Tropheus are terrible, by the way. So these came in almost dead. Look how mingy they are. They are coming good. I did lose a fair few of them on arrival, but these ones are holding on. Still skinny, still mingy, terrible looking fish, but they are perking up. They may be in another video later, but that has been going really well for the last 2 months. Super awesome. Back to the video. And the BioStyle 115 is 550 liters and 4 watts. So obviously reduced flow. So these are going to do up to about a 3-foot tank. We've had one of these going in one of our 100-liter marine tanks for, again, the last sort of 3 months or so. So we're going to jump to that. This 100-liter marine tank, it consists of a clownfish hiding underneath my leather coral. There is a damsel in there somewhere lurking around, lots of macroalgae and some live rock. This system is hooked up to a chiller and a sump, so it's not the only filtration. We are mostly using this for circulation and to see how it goes, and it's been working super well. It hasn't clogged up in 3 months. Our little blue nib is still up there. We haven't even needed to clean it out. So there is the intake, which is all covered in macroalgae and all sorts of stuff like that, and there is still a decent flow. Working really well. So that is the main flow we've got going to our leather coral, and our leather coral is happy and perky. So obviously you could use this size filter in a bigger tank. It is designed up to 115 liters, and this is a 100-liter tank, but because it's marine, we've got more flow going, obviously to keep our little leather coral happy, which he is happy with our little clownfish. And the smallest size is the BioStyle 75, which will do up to 75 liters. Obviously, in a marine tank like you just saw, you want to go up a model, which is why we've gone for the bigger one in that size tank. But if you had a tank similar size with freshwater fish, then this model is going to easily be able to do that 100-liter tank you just saw. So this one is 350 liters an hour. It is 3.5 watts. And pretty much the same idea as the two you just saw, just smaller. So it's got the one cartridge. I've been using this one for the last 2 months on a little tiny tank, which is probably only about 15 liters with some little pea puffers in it. And because you've got the flow adjuster on the inside of this, you can turn the flow right down. So we've turned it to the minimum flow level, and it is perfectly filtering the little tiny tank. We've also added a little sponge on the intake of this to stop any gunk or anything going in, or baby little fish, because they are super tiny little pea puffers. We're going to jump to that tank and show you how it's been going. And how tiny is this tank? So this is a little nano tank, around about 12-15 liters. It houses some little tiny pea puffers, which is just a tiny little freshwater puffer fish. Wait, there's one right there. There you are. How cute is that? So they're a little Indian fish. We have got this filter right down to the lowest setting. And if I take the little cover off, you'll be able to see how you do that. So this little blue knob here, you can turn to adjust the flow. We've got it completely down so there's less water siphoning in and going through the filtration. So there's the filtration of the smaller model. It is just one little cartridge there and your little biomedia. So tiny little bit of water trickling out of it. If we turn that full on, it's just going to be a big sparkle in this tiny little tank, because that is going to do up to a 75-litre tank, which is roughly about a 60 centimetre or 2-foot aquarium. Also added a big sponge on it because we feed these guys lots of live baby brine shrimp, and the baby brine shrimp is going to get lost into the filter. So you can obviously modify any of these intakes with a sponge like that. It doesn't have to be a bright yellow one, but that does the job. Working really, really well. And as I said, when they clog, that little blue bit will just float up like that and tell you. So you really don't have to worry about mucking around with the filter at all. And the other thing with these little filters is the little tiny blue bit that adjusts the height of it with the tank. You can extend it fully out for narrow little tanks like this. So even though these will support wider tanks, smaller tanks like that, they are perfectly fine as well. Big bulky filter on a little tiny nano tank, but yeah, that is working really, really well. So in conclusion, these hang-on filters are pretty awesome. If you've got a tank bigger than a 4-foot, you could always have a couple of these going on the back, and that gives you really like close to 2,000 litres of water movement. They are really, really good filters. So obviously a 3-year warranty, that pretty much covers any slightly extra price of these compared to just your standard sort of hang-on filters on the market, but they work really, really well. Yes, I'm kind of impressed with them. I'm going to continue to use a lot of the Awazi products because they are awesome. I am absolutely not sponsored by Awazi. Yes, my own free will, I am choosing to stock and sell these filters because they are awesome. As little pea puffers have said, they really enjoy it as well. But if you did enjoy this video, or if you've got any comments about these filters, comment down below, I will get back to you. And if Awazi's watching this, you should sponsor me. That's never gonna happen. Anyway, thanks heaps for watching my video. We will see you in the next one.